Well, folks, today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. I know, what a shocker, but we're actually going to take this from a different approach. We've been talking a lot about leaks and rumors and news, and look, surely there's going to be more and more of that coming out, right? Tokyo Game Show still hasn't fully reaped everything that we expect to hear from it, so yeah, that could be coming any day now, could be next week, could be a month from now, who really knows? And obviously, as we get closer and closer to the system being revealed, we'll probably hear more from the dev units, more from Nate the Hate, and so much stuff. Like, we're already hearing about all the games that are going to be on this thing, which is absolutely insane, right? It looks like this may be the first Nintendo platform, potentially since the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, at least if journalists are to be believed, that is going to have full multi-platform AAA support.
Yeah! Yeah! Oh, better luck next time, buddy! Woo!
That, to me, is astonishing. What a turnaround for Nintendo, probably in large part thanks to the Nintendo Switch era itself. But we do need to look beyond all of this and start to think about the importance of the Nintendo Switch 2 coming and why it matters that it happens next year and why you and really the rest of the video game industry should want it to happen next year. And man, this is going to be a wild ride, but before we dive in, I want to remind you we are on our road to 150,000 subscribers, so I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and hit that bell icon to be notified of all future videos and uploads, including a live stream we'll be doing tonight around 8 p.m. Central Time. All right, but let's just dive into this on a deeper level because, look, the Nintendo Switch is nearing the end of its life. I think we can mostly agree after that last Nintendo Direct where they announced 0 brand new Switch games. They did announce a bunch of ports and remasters, Thousand Year Door, looks cool, but they didn't sit there and go through and announce anything brand new. We just saw more of a brand new game that was shown off in June in Princess Peach Showtime. So we already have this indication that they're starting to treat this sort of like the end of the 3DS era when it was heading into the Nintendo Switch era. We saw them do a lot of ports and remasters. Hello, Samus Returns, right? Like that was a really, really good game on 3DS. But again, that was one of those remastered games from the past coming back. So we can look at this from many different angles, but it looks very clear that they're treating the end of the Switch era exactly as now retired insider Emily Rogers said they were going to do. What did she say over a year ago? They're going to be ending the Nintendo Switch era with a bunch of GameCube remasters, and that's seemingly what is happening right before our eyes. So everything seems to be according to the plan that Emily Rogers already set up. But the reason it's so important that Switch 2 comes next year isn't just because Nintendo has clearly set the table, right? We have Wii U and 3DS online gameplay ending by April of next year or in April of next year. We obviously have some Switch support going into fiscal year ending March of 2025. But really what matters is that the industry and us gamers need Nintendo Switch 2. Now, why is this the case? Well, one, look, we could talk about how incredible the Switch is doing in its 7th year on the market, and it is doing things Nintendo is not accustomed to in the 7th year. Things that DS and 3DS and Wii and all their most successful platforms weren't able to do in its 7th year, and that is incredible software sales with pretty solid hardware sales. But what is undeniable is that everything is in decline. They are predicting their lowest software sales, and that's despite Mario Wonder, Princess Peach Showtime, Tears of the Kingdom coming out. Like, they're predicting their lowest overall software sales in the last 7 years. That's right, less than they projected for the very first year of Nintendo Switch. So we're seeing that the software sales are on the decline, according to Nintendo. And yeah, hardware sales are as well. Remember, it peaked in 2020 with 28 million, and every year since we've seen a decline. It went down to 25 million, then it went down to 20 million. Now we're down to a projected 15 million, and even then, Furukawa has not been willing to act confident about them hitting that 15 million mark, repeatedly saying that they expect to fall short of the 15 million projection. They're just not going to adjust it yet. likely because they want to wait and see what the holiday sales are like. I think they're projecting to have the lowest holiday sales they've probably had in 5 years. And that's just the reality of that situation. And the Nintendo Switch is in a decline. And what you want to do when a system or any sort of consumer electronic is in a decline like that is you want to get something new out to reinvigorate the market before that old electronic is no longer relevant, before people aren't talking about Nintendo Switch, aren't buying Switch games. You want to get it out there while there is still a vibrant community around the product. Every time companies, and not just Nintendo, even other tech companies, let products go until nobody's buying them anymore and the product's basically dead, and then they launch a new one, what happens is consumers tend to move on. They find something else. Maybe they shift over to tablets. Maybe they shift over to handheld PCs. Maybe they end up saying, you know what, I don't want to wait anymore. I'm going to buy a PlayStation 5 because finally PS5 exclusive, next generation exclusive games are starting to come out. And you know what? I'm getting tired of the Zeldas and the Marios and the Kirbys. And you know what? These GameCube remasters aren't really tickling my fancy. I need something better. And if they just keep waiting and waiting and waiting too long, that's going to end up causing a problem for any sort of sequel system. And this has been a consistent problem in Nintendo's past, where they have let their products run until nobody really wants to buy them anymore, and then they release a new product. This is the exact opposite of the strategy that Sony has done with PlayStation, where they continually release brand new PlayStation systems while the old system is in a decline, but still popular, right? It's still in the market. There's still some demand for games for it, and boom, they still just drop a brand new system while continuing to put out some pretty solid games on their old hardware. And this is why I think that Nintendo, of course, needs to launch a brand new Switch next year, because you're having a bunch of years of decline, and there's a high likelihood that if they didn't release a new system next year, the projected sales for Nintendo Switch would be 10 million or less for Nintendo. That's not good when you're declining at 5 million in sales every single year. I mean, that's just not a realistic thing that is showing the momentum slowing down massively. So Nintendo needs the system to come out just to reinvigorate the excitement around their company and the excitement around Nintendo products, especially while they have the theme parks and the movies doing so well. They just announced the Animal Crossing Lego sets coming. We don't even know what the sets are, but we saw the characters. Yeah, they're announcing some exciting things, but you need to keep that video game momentum going as well, and a new platform can do that. Now, there's other reasons too. Obviously, third-party games. We're having a problem where third-party games are constantly being delayed, or if they're not being delayed, they should be. Recently, we had Mortal Kombat 1 come out on Nintendo Switch, and it functions, it plays, but it also has some major bugs. There's a texture bug going around that where certain textures aren't even loading in. There's some dead-eye stuff in some of the cutscenes. Frame rates are really inconsistent during battle, and this is all stuff that impacts the quality of the game. And so Mortal Kombat 1 for Nintendo Switch feels like it probably should have been delayed just to get more polish. But then you have other games that are getting delayed. Even the Batman Arkham Collection, which can clearly run and should be able to run pretty well natively on Switch, considering all those games came out on worse hardware, and yet it's being delayed. And why is it being delayed to December? For quality control, right? They need to make sure the games are running well. And even Hogwarts Legacy, think about how much that's been delayed. Is this like they've had 3 delays and now it's supposedly coming next month until they inevitably announce it's been canceled or there's another delay, and we still haven't even seen the game. Because again, putting these third-party multi-platform AAA games on Switch are increasingly becoming more and more difficult as developers are starting to leave the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One behind. And that's because the install bases on the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5 are starting to grow to a point that third parties are feeling comfortable not needing to support old hardware. And here's the reality. The Nintendo Switch came out in 2017. It's now old hardware. It's time that these third-party companies might even want to move beyond Switch. And that's the few sparing AAA third-party games we're still getting. And then on top of that, from the consumer perspective, I understand if you just got your Nintendo Switch, or maybe you're about to get one this holiday on a great sale somewhere, a fire sale at a retailer. Maybe you're getting one of those Switch Lite Animal Crossing bundles, or you're going to end up getting them always present Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle, which, yeah, all this stuff launches tomorrow, right? They're launching these brand new bundles tomorrow. Well, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe isn't that brand new, but either way, what's really cool is that even though you buying that now will be okay, because you're going to have a massive back catalog of games and still some in the future to look forward to, what's really nice is, hey, even you should want Nintendo Switch 2 to come out. And you might go, no way, if I'm just getting into Switch now, why would I want that? Well, one, Switch games are only going to get cheaper as the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, so you'll be able to afford more of those back cataloging games, but also it gives you something to look forward to, so you could still play your Switch for the next 2, 3, 4 years if you want, and then you could upgrade to Nintendo Switch 2, because think about this, if you're getting a Nintendo Switch for your first time right now, you already waited till the system was almost 7 years old to dive in. That means you probably wouldn't be in a big rush to get a Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, I can liken this to even the iPhone situation, right? They're releasing the iPhone 15, or I guess it's already out technically, and they have the iPhone 15, the iPhone 15 Pro, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max. Do I need to rush out and get the iPhone 15? No, I feel completely satisfied with the product I have. I don't feel like I need to rush out and get the latest and greatest, even though I love having the latest and greatest. There's nothing that I fundamentally see that it does that is an upgrade and improvement to my life beyond some incremental things with video and photo. So what's interesting for me is, you know what? I can wait another year. I could wait another 2 years until there is a product that comes out from Apple that I do feel like is worth upgrading to for my use case with my phone, which yes, I even use my phone for some of my videos on YouTube. So the camera quality and the video quality is actually important for me as a content creator. It is an extra camera I use. It is the third, it's my camera number 3. It's my top-down camera. Sometimes I'll use it for alternate angles on live streams. So absolutely, it is something that matters to me. It's just not something that matters to me enough to upgrade with what they're offering. And Nintendo Switch 2 at launch might be worth the quote-unquote upgrade because of the power increase, but it's not going to have a massive exclusive library at launch. Sure, you'll have a 3D Mario. Yeah, we'll probably have a Call of Duty. Yeah, there's going to be some third-party multi-platform games that are day one, you know, NBA 2K and all of that. But the library is going to be so small compared to what Switch is, there's not really a reason to have to rush out and get that new thing right now, right? Sometimes you get that FOMO, that fear of missing out. I want to be there at the beginning of the rush hype cycle, but you know what? You don't have to be there. In fact, I've always argued the smartest thing for consumers to do is not buy a new system until there's enough games to justify making that purchase. And too many people rush out to buy the things right away. I have literal friends that rushed out and bought a PlayStation 5 day one, and still to this day, they've played like 2 games on it, and they've been collecting dust because they're just sitting here waiting for all the Sony exclusives to drop, and they're, you know what, they're like all cross-gen. I even had one tell me, why the hell did I buy this if I could just play God of War Ragnarok on my PS4? I don't know. Why did you? Why didn't you wait? So I even think for you guys that are just getting into Switch now, this isn't a bad thing because you're not someone who is buying early into technology anyways. So why not get this out sooner? So when the library is built up in 3-4 years, maybe you want to trade in what you have now to help you upgrade to the new. It'll be much easier to get it. You don't have to fight, you know, for stock and all that stuff. And there might be even more games you're interested in. Maybe the next Zelda game will be when you want to, you know, go out and get the new system. So I'm just pointing out that even for people getting a Switch now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing outside of that FOMO feeling that people get. And look, FOMO is just something we do to ourselves. It's not something that needs to be done to us. Although Nintendo, what you pulled with Super Mario 3D All-Stars was BS, and please don't do that business practice again. Of course, it worked, so they're going to do it again. Now, I could go on and on and on trying to convince you that, you know, the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be this wonderful device and it's going to be super powerful. And you know what? Maybe it will be. But I'm going to let Nintendo and the leakers and all the news out there kind of do that for you guys. I'm just here to tell you that, you know what? We need a Nintendo Switch 2 next year. The industry needs the Nintendo Switch 2. And I'll even give you one reason above all that the console industry needs a Nintendo Switch 2. Did you know that when Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, it'll be the only system of the big 3, so we're talking PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, S and X, and Nintendo, to have true exclusive games? Wait, what? Yeah, all the Xbox games also launch on PC. Oh, Sony's exclusives also go to PC a year later. Nintendo's console is coming at a time when other consoles are sort of devaluing themselves by actually boosting the PC audience. And don't get me wrong, PC gaming's awesome. I'm not here to tell you otherwise. But exclusives used to be the reason to get consoles. As those reasons are becoming muddied and the waters are becoming, much different and things are shifting in the marketplace, Nintendo needs to be here to remind people that, hey, sometimes things are just better when they're only on your hardware. I know you're going to point to all the Switch, mods and everything else on PC that makes Switch games better, and I understand. But if what we're hearing about Switch 2 is true, it ain't going to be so easy to just emulate Switch 2 anymore. You're going to need to do a lot of work, and even then, that's just to get the game running as well as the Switch 2 is going to be running games. So I look forward personally to what Nintendo has on slate, what Nintendo's developers can do with that level of power, and I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. Maybe I made a bad argument and you guys think this was crap. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Did I make a compelling reason for Switch 2 to be next year? Or are you still saying, we don't need this thing, I'm good? Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next video.